what would you recommend for striking training as an effective real application practice? Boxing, Muay Thai.
Okay.
That's real easy. Start with boxing because it's easier to learn. You don't have to throw big kicks, but it's very effective martial art, boxing. And then once you get decent at that, now you can go into Muay Thai and learn how to use your legs, your elbows, your knees, your head. So there you go.
Yeah, agree. The boxing too, and this is strange, but it's absolutely true, is if you don't have experience throwing punches and landing punches, it's surprisingly hard to punch someone's face and land it effectively.
Yeah.
You know how like on the movies, you see, I used to watch MacGyver a lot. So MacGyver used to punch people, and then he'd always shake his hand like,
really?
Yeah, like, I hurt my hand. That was kind of one of the funny things
hurt your hand
about
when you punch people.
That's the thing. That's why I thought it was funny. I'm sure on MacGyver they were trying to make like, MacGyver's such a softie in that way.
Is that
he's
what
such
I thought
a
he was
non-fighter.
hardcore?
He's hardcore, like his brain, like he's super smart. So
guy.
He doesn't carry a gun. He's not that guy.
Doesn't need one. Has a paperclip.
He has a brain. Yeah, exactly right. Paperclip, Swiss Army knife. Nonetheless, that's kind of what that was indicating. But I thought it taught kind of a good lesson where if you watch on TV guys just punching guys in the face, in the head, but you can, especially if you don't have experience punching, you can probably will break your hand.
Yeah.
Or hurt your hand at the very least.
For sure.
So if you go train boxing, even just once a week, some boxing or whatever, you really get to learn like, okay, if I start throwing these punches,
the difference between it's just like jiu-jitsu, like 6 months of jiu-jitsu destroys someone with no jiu-jitsu. 6 months of boxing does pretty damn good against someone with no boxing, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, the only thing with boxing and like striking, you can kind of, not really, I mean, people are going to get mad at even saying this, but I don't mean this like straight up literally, but in the streets you can have kind of some training. You know how like if you get in a bunch of street fights all the time,
yeah,
and you punch people in the face, you learn. Yeah, exactly right. You learn what. But
what you'll learn actually mostly from being a legit street fighter is you learn the mindset. And I know as stupid as that sounds, but here's what you learn. If I punch this guy as fast as I can before he's expecting it and I'm a sucker punch him, you'll become a good street fighter. That's what street fighting is. Street fighting, a lot is done on aggression. And if you get in my face and I punch you in the face, if you look at me and say, what's your problem? Boom, and I hit you. Yeah. That's what a good experienced street fighter that kicks a lot of people's asses, that's what they do. Right. They are over aggressive. They don't care about getting in a fight. They're not thinking about it. They're fighting. Right. And so when you say, hey, what's your crack?
Right.
Or the guy says, hey, what do you look crack? That's what a street fighter does. They're going to take action very quickly. Yeah. That's so you can learn a lot from that. So when you take that and someone, when someone shows up at the MMA gym and they says, I got a lot of street fights.
Yeah.
And if that's most of the time, that's bullshit. But if it's not, and they're actually a guy that's been in a lot of fights, and it's only so helpful because now they got someone that they're going to shake hands with and then engage in combat. So they've lost and I'm not saying it's not a real thing. Right. Some of my friends growing up were really good street fighters. And this is how I'm saying this with kind of a little bit of knowledge is my friends that were really good street fighters, what made them good street fighters wasn't that they studied boxing, wasn't that they studied jiu-jitsu. It was because they had a very aggressive mindset. Yeah. And so someone would say, hey, what's your crack? And they were going ballistic.
Right.
Or someone says, what do you look at crack? And that's it. And it wasn't crack. It was crack, run away. Yeah. Or that's, so yes, that's what a street fighter has. They have a mindset of they have been in fights before, but they know that the aggression will take them a long way.
Yeah. It's kind of like a guy in, let's say, basketball who, he has a home court or something and he just shoots a lot of shots, Yeah. Like he knows how to make those shots, but then now you put him on the basketball court, he has no technical training with dribbling or anything.
Yes, that is true. That is true. You can learn the mechanics.
Yeah.
And
on your own, by the way.
On your own. You can learn the mechanics, but the mechanics, and then the mechanics are going to be almost less helpful.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Than actually understanding the mindset of what's going to happen in a fight. Now the mechanics will be more helpful in basketball, but it's not once you get in a real game. The first basketball game I ever played, I knew the mechanics and I got destroyed
Yeah.
Every pass I threw, for the first 10 passes I threw, got picked off, and the guy went down the other end of the court and scored. I'm not even kidding. That happened.
I can dig it.
My dad was like a Hoosiers kind of guy. Did you ever see the movie Hoosiers? It's like, hey, you're going to work the mechanics. You're going to work ball handling. You're going to work passing, not shooting. No sparring, or what is it called? Scrimmaging, right? You're just going to learn the mechanics. And then that would have been cool if I would have had a coach that had a different mindset, but the coach had the same Hoosier mindset as my dad, which is mechanics. So I worked on all these mechanics. I had really good ball handling. I had good passing. And then it was the first game I played in basketball. I had never actually, it was almost, maybe I'd done a couple live games, but I'd never played against anyone skilled. Dribbled down the court. I was a point guard. Dribbled down the court, held up my fingers about, okay, we're going to run play number 3. Went over to the side, threw the ball, and the dude just picked it off. And the kid that I was playing against was a really good player. The other guy that was guarding me, he just destroyed me. Okay. And the reason was, didn't have the experience of live games. Now, I actually brought that mentality when I was running training. I always, you can sit there and learn the mechanics in the kill house. Or you can sit there and learn the mechanics of doing immediate action drills out in the field. The mechanics are good. You have to know them, but you have to also be live. Yeah. And that's why I loved when the SEAL teams, when we went from just having live rounds and paper targets, which everyone was, that was like the highest form. Mm-hmm. Hey, we train with live fire. That's the best thing. And that's what I was raised to believe. As soon as I saw we had simunition, and then once I realized how effective simunition was, I was like, you don't even need simunition. You can go run around literally saying bang, bang at each other, but you got people moving and it's going to help you. So that mindset came from trying to not just be Hoosiers. Hoosiers, the movie Hoosiers is a basketball movie. It's an awesome movie, but the beginning is all just drilling. And my dad, because I didn't play basketball, I said, Dad, I want to play basketball. He said, okay. So he's teaching me how to play basketball, but he was like a Hoosier guy. Yeah. You're going to be good defense. You're going to be good at ball handling. Yeah. And then, unfortunately, my coach was the same way. My first coach was the same way. 7th grade or 8th grade. Just like, hey, Hoosiers, we're going to have good defense. And I dribbled down the court. Anyways. So be careful with that. But someone that played street ball,
exactly, yeah.
And didn't, no one ever taught him ball handling. No one ever taught him the theory behind a zone defense. Yeah. That guy would have done infinitely better than I did in my first basketball game. Yeah. My dad must have been hanging his head in shame. He must have been, what a loser. How did I raise this kid?
Yeah. But that's true. It's the same kind of thing. Yeah, those street fighters, they know how it feels to like land a punch. Yep. They know, they have this kind of intuitive gauge on, kind of distance in a way, just because they've been there.
Yeah, and so that's why when you train people for anything, even in the business world, like don't just train the people the mechanics of a conversation that they're supposed to have. If they're a leader, just don't train them on the mechanics. Here's what you say. Read this script. No, put them live fire.
Throw them in there, yeah.
Put them live fire. Role play with them. Have them sit with you while you're going through something. Have them go in there and talk to somebody that you told them how to act and act all crazy. Do that with them.
Yeah.
Check.